Hey, brother.
Hey, brother.
So, today we're going to try and do a rewrite of the Harry Potter series. Um,
Yeah.
it was suggested to us in the comments, I think in our very first video, to do Harry Potter the Boy Who Didn't Live.
Okay. Yeah.
So, if we could rewrite the Harry Potter series where I guess Voldemort kills him. And that was a comment we got on our very first episode in season 1. So, I thought this would be kind of a cool way to start off season 2.
Yeah. So you weren't the one who came up with Voldemort killing Baby Potter,
No,
but
no.
it's there. So may as well
Infanticide
tackle it.
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's Okay. Should I do like a brief of what the Harry Potter series is, just to recap everybody on this thing?
I mean, if you don't know by now, let's do a quick brief.
Yeah. So Harry's this boy. He doesn't know that he's got special abilities, but he does. And he's living with these normal people, his aunt and uncle and his cousin, and they're really
real
mean to
jerks.
him. Yeah, they're really mean to him. And every once in a while he'll cast a spell. So then he finds out.
As you do.
Yeah, he finds out he's actually a wizard, and his parents are wizards, but his parents died because there's this guy that nobody wants to talk about named Voldemort. And Voldemort killed his parents, and while Voldemort was trying to kill Harry, Voldemort couldn't kill Harry, and the only thing Voldemort did was leave a scar on Harry's head.
Yeah. Really skilled wizard.
Yes.
Couldn't kill a baby.
I know. I gotta tell you. I don't think I would fail in that. That's just me. So that's kind of like what kicks off the whole thing. So now Harry's going to a wizard school.
Yeah.
Where they're training him to become a wizard. Harry's super famous because he's the kid who basically defeated like one of the most powerful dark wizards to ever live.
Yeah.
And this dark wizard, there are people who think he's dead, and then there are people who are like, no, he's not dead. He's just kind of like in hibernation.
Yeah.
And he's going to come back and
finish what he started.
Yes, finish what he started. So, how do you then? What does this story even look like?
Well, that's the question, because if he's the boy who didn't live, then that means that he was killed as a baby.
Yes.
But then if Harry's killed as a baby, then does Voldemort even go into hibernation? Doesn't he just he sticks around, right?
There's actually two ways you can do it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. One way is Voldemort kills Harry and nothing happens to Voldemort.
Okay.
The second way is Voldemort kills Harry and Voldemort still goes into hibernation. In order to kill Harry, it still has a reflect on Voldemort.
Okay.
It kills Voldemort essentially, but then Voldemort in the story uses the Horcrux or something like that. He's got
Horcrux, yeah.
7 artifacts. I'm gonna get everything wrong name-wise, by the way.
Hogan Crux.
Yeah. He's tied his soul into these different objects. So if he does die, he then can come back through one of these objects, but it takes him a while to do it.
Yeah. So I think that would be the more interesting way of going. Because if he doesn't die, then he's just hanging out. It's none of the original cast. It would be Dumbledore and Snape and McGonagall. It would be up to them.
Yeah.
To attack them, and then maybe a whole new cast of current wizards.
Yes.
But if he kills Harry and then goes into hibernation, then he still comes back in the 4th movie.
Yes.
Right? Except now there's no Harry.
Yes. So there's no Harry. I think...
Actually.
Yes.
He's on the back of somebody's head in the 1st movie.
Yeah.
And there's no Harry to kill him off of his head, so he might even come back before the 4th movie.
Yeah, he would come back before the 4th movie if no one was there to stop him.
Right.
So the guy that has him on the back of the head, that's the first Horcrux?
I,
You know what I'm saying?
I don't.
Like,
I
was
don't know.
that guy one of the objects that Voldemort put his soul into?
I don't think so. I think he was just like a vessel for Voldemort was just a passenger, kind of waiting for his own body. Kind of
Voldemort just growing off of him?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So here's what I think, because I think it's an interesting approach to take.
Okay.
I think instead of now Harry's gone, you don't have Harry be the person. I think instead Malfoy is now the person who is going up against Voldemort. And you can have it where he's being kind of raised to believe Voldemort's possibly still alive. So you could even have it where he's trying to bring Voldemort back, and as he's going through now, and maybe you even get it into like somehow into this fourth movie where Voldemort comes back. But while now Voldemort comes back, and as Voldemort comes back, now he's finding out information and realizing, even though this guy's Slytherin, even though this guy like holds the same ideals as like my parents do, I don't want this guy coming back, because I feel like he came to that realization. Like the movies were kind of showing like, oh, like whatever his name is, Draco. What's his name?
Draco Malfoy. Yeah, toward the end, he started kind of feeling
Draco's like,
oh, man,
I don't want to
be
killing people, and I don't want to be, like he kind of holds those ideals that his dad does as a kid, and as he starts getting older, he's almost like, I don't really dislike Harry. He starts feeling like that. Yeah. So I think he's actually the main character if Harry dies, and I think
that is different direction than I would have taken it.
Yeah,
but I think go ahead though.
I think he should be the one who actually brings Voldemort back. Then he should be the one who also defeats Voldemort.
Okay.
So you could have him, now that like maybe Harry's gone, he could have a love interest that's not Slytherin, who's a Muggle.
Okay. Ooh, that's not bad. Yeah.
Maybe he likes Ron's sister.
Yeah.
And I know she's like a wizard, but because Harry's gone out of the picture, so who's gonna, maybe he likes her. He's like, oh my gosh, I really like her. And she's got two wizard parents, but she has different ideals because she's in Gryffindor and she's friends with Hermione.
Right.
Yeah. So she's so he's kind of like, well, how do you rectify this relationship, or me even having a relationship with her when she feels so strongly about this?
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm in the wrong here.
That's interesting. Yeah, I would have gone in a different direction. I would have made Hermione.
Yes.
The main character. I always kind of felt like Hermione sort of was or should have been the main character, where it's like if you're watching the movies, like Harry and Ron are kind of goofballs. They're underachievers. They don't really like go out of their way to try and accomplish something. Like Harry accomplishes stuff that kind of lands in his lap, but Hermione struggles and she works hard. And like she's smart and she figures things out, and then her friends are underachievers, and her parents are Muggles.
Yeah,
and it's like she's the one who's like, one of my favorite intellectual properties is Rocky, and with Rocky, everything in fate is working against him. Yeah, and he makes it happen anyway. Yeah. And that's what I feel like Hermione, like she has, these loser friends and Muggle parents, but she makes it happen anyway. Yeah. Like she just works really, really hard. So I feel like she's a really good pick for a protagonist. And she's also kind of a go-getter in that like she'll take the lead. Like she allows Harry to take the lead. Mm-hmm. But like when somebody needs to step up, she's like, "Okay, I got this," and then she pulls something out of her Mary Poppins bag, and like so she's kind of, if she needed to take the lead, then she would, and she'd be like, okay, we have to go get Voldemort.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of what you said with Malfoy, where it's like he's having this kind of crisis of conscience that is maybe exacerbated by a relationship with someone who has a tie to Muggles.
Yes.
And that would be actually very interesting if Hermione were that love interest.
Yeah.
I never felt like the Ron-Hermione relationship made much sense. But it would make sense for like Malfoy to maybe start out as a villain against Hermione, and then to like for them to have this kind of complicated relationship where they kind of have feelings for each other, and she has these Muggle parents, and he kind of like starts to see the light through Hermione.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that.
Yeah, I think that's a better approach. So long as people can.
Yay.
So long as people can disconnect Hermione and Ron.
Yeah. I mean, Ron. I don't know. Like, I feel like Ron and what's her name? Is it Lily? Oh my gosh, it's been a little while since I've seen it. There's the blonde, who's like kind of a quirky and kind of a weirdo.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Ron's a total weirdo. And, like,
yes.
I feel like they would kind of mesh and they'd kind of, like, just understand each other.
Willie, Lily's the one who talks like, she talks like this the whole time.
Yes.
She has that voice.
Yeah.
It's like, is she doing that on purpose or does she actually sound like that?
I don't know. But I thought, when they introduced her, I thought that they were going to make her a love interest for Ron. Because it's like, oh, here's this kind of, like, weirdo that, like, people would be like, who is this? Like this kind of like loser. But Ron would be like enamored by that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
But they didn't go that direction, and I was like, well, that was a mistake.
Felt. I felt like they were setting up the Ron. Whether you understand it or not, they at least were setting up the Ron Hermione thing.
Yeah.
Where they were kind of having moments where like, hey, people were hugging, but Ron and Hermione were kind of like, ugh, from each other. Yeah. It's like, oh, they like each other, and they don't really know how to like express it. But what Harry and Ron's sister, I don't remember what her name is, I didn't see that one coming at all. That just all of a sudden happened.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, that was weird, because Harry was into that other girl for a long time. Like there was like a whole movie where he's into her, and then like nothing happened. And then after that movie, they just never. There was like never a reconnection. It was just like, oh, okay, whatever. We kissed, and then we were like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're done. I was like, okay. So I don't know. I can go into all the problems I have with the Harry Potter series, but I don't know. If that's what we want to do. Or...
Let's do it. Well, first let's establish if Harry's gone.
Yes.
Are Hermione and or Malfoy?
Yeah.
Maybe they've teamed up now. Like Malfoy's realized the error of his ways.
Yeah.
Are they going to have trouble with Voldemort? Because like, wasn't his problem that he was using a wand that wasn't meant for him?
Yes.
And Harry never would have beat him if he had just used his own wand, probably. Yes. So it's like his downfall is kind of his own fault. Yeah. Would Hermione and Malfoy have any trouble with him, or does it end pretty much the same way?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because it's like how I think. It's kind of. Yeah, it is,
I think that too.
It's tough to really get into like how would the end fight look like.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of that's sort of what I mean. Is like, does Harry need to be there in order for Voldemort to lose?
I don't think so. This is really my issue with the Harry Potter series to begin with, which is why it's difficult to give characters agency.
Okay.
That's a difficult thing to do, and Harry Potter never does that, ever.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, like what you're saying is like, how does Malfoy defeat Voldemort? And it's like in the Harry Potter universe, Voldemort accidentally trips and bumps his head on a rock and kills himself. because Dum Dum Door sent like a phoenix with the Gryffindor sword, you know, and Voldemort dodged it, but you know, because he's still baby Voldemort, he doesn't have his balance. With his diaper on, his diaper unbalanced him.
So victory just kind of happens for these people. Like it's not really earned.
Yes.
It lands in their laps.
So so if you're asking like, how do we actually give the characters agency where somebody like, you know, Ron, Hermione, and Draco actually, through their own merit, defeat Voldemort? We could come up with that.
Sure.
You want to try it? I mean, what's it called? Didn't do it. Rowling didn't do it, but we could do it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see.
Well, what is Ron even good at? Like, I mean, is Ron going to be able to, like, I feel like his twin brothers would be of more help than he would be.
I think there's a couple. I think there's there's a couple mistakes made.
Okay.
That Rowling made that we can adjust. Okay. So she had the Deathly Hallows, which is the invisibility cloak, the wand, the resurrection stone.
Right.
This is a mistake. It needs what we would do is we would make 4 of them.
Okay.
And each of them represent a house. And in order for them to defeat Voldemort, they have to acquire these items, and they have to bring the houses together. So there's Slytherin, Draco. There's Hufflepuff with Ron. There's Ravenclaw, or whatever the heck it's called, with Hermione. Then there's Gryffindor with another character.
Okay. Yeah.
You know?
No, that would be the better way to go.
And these houses don't like each other because they're in competition.
Right.
And Slytherin also has this added thing of we don't like Muggles.
Yeah.
So like there's all this conflict and battle that they have to find a way of, like, we need to find a way of coming together because only a Hufflepuff can find the Hufflepuff thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Only a Slytherin can find the resurrection stone. Only, you know, all this stuff. So it's like now they're actually like... So now you get into this movie where, like, Voldemort comes back. He ends up killing, you know, Hermione's younger sister or something stupid, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You know, you do something like that. And now Draco's like, oh, that's what this guy's about. And now it's real. And he's kind of like, I don't want that. I think we made a mistake.
Yeah.
You know? So now they're coming together to actually defeat Voldemort using the Deathly Hallows. You know?
Right.
Which is another thing Harry should have done. Because it's like you had the invisibility cloak the whole time.
Yeah.
But you never used it.
He didn't use it once against Voldemort.
and like, you just dropped the stone. The resurrection stone. Like, I don't understand. Did you use it? Did you not use it? I don't get it. Then the wand, you get the wand and you decide to just, like, you know, break the wand and not use the wand.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. It was love, Harry.
Yeah,
It wasn't the Deathly Hallows.
I also don't understand, like, why, if these things are so easy to break, wouldn't they just be breaking all over the place, you know? Like, when you hit someone with a spell and they're falling, like, wouldn't their wand just explode if they're this fragile where you could just snap it? Like, isn't there something magical about these wands?
Right, yeah. That's an interesting point.
Anyway, but yeah, I think that's the direction you go in.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do like that too, because it suggests also that all 4 houses are necessary.
Yes.
Rather than, like, what the movies suggest, which is that, there are these other houses, but Gryffindor is really the best one.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, like that, that kind of sucks for all the other houses. Like Hufflepuff's like sitting there with their Taco Supremes, like, what the heck, man? But yeah, I do like that. I like that better, where it's like no, like this Hogwarts is a community, and all 4 houses are necessary.
Yes.
So that would be interesting. I do like that.
Yeah, and then it's like, now you have a weapon that you can use against Voldemort that he can't use because he's just one dude.
Yeah.
Who doesn't work with the other houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, that's your weakness. And then you're like tying it all into this, like, there's strength in the fact that, like, we are a diverse group of people.
Yeah.
You know? And then you could have that scene where it's like, there's only one, but if you get all of us together, it forms one mighty, that stupid line.
And then Captain Planet appears.
Yeah. Hart. I would so be Hart. I always made fun of Hart, but then when I think about it, I'm like, that's probably who I would be as a Planeteer. I'd be Hart.
What is he capable of? He's like, he talks to a lion or something. Yeah. I've never actually seen him do anything. What does he do?
If I was Hart, I would do something. I'd be like, emotions! Emotions!
You're just crying at people.
Unbearable sorrow! Just...
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, there's a interesting direction to take it that ties things together and actually puts this whole, like, hey, like, this guy doesn't like this group of people, and shows why that's the wrong way of thinking.
Yeah.
How, like, no, like, as a group, there is power.
Yeah. Yeah, there's strength in community.
Yes.
And he's just going about it the wrong way.
Yes.
He's, like, alienating everybody.
But it also shows how they were maybe going about it the wrong way too, because it's like when you're separated and you're not working together towards this common goal.
Yeah,
you're also leaving yourself weakened.
Because there's so much in the movies where it's like competition between the houses.
Yes.
Like even if it's just like Quidditch.
Yeah.
Or Goblet of Fire and stuff. It's like if there's actual like competition between the houses, it's them kind of pitting each other against each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be kind of more powerful if it's like, no, like the 4 of us working together is actually necessary. I do like that. That's nice.
Yeah, that's not bad, right? And it gives agency to the characters.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that's good. Did you want to get into kind of your problems with, or is that your problems with Harry Potter?
Yes, I did want to get into my problems.
Okay.
I'll say this about Harry Potter. I think the world may be one of the best worlds ever created.
Okay, yeah.
Where just like it's so interesting and there's so many fun things to just look at and explore and all this other stuff, like the paintings on the wall moving and the ghosts.
Yeah.
And like there's the girl crying in the bathroom and just like there's all this really fun, cool.
That pervert.
Yeah. The like boarding school for wizards is such a fun idea.
Yeah.
And I really liked the first movie. I think the first movie is still my favorite.
Okay.
For that reason, that it builds the world. Then I would say the second movie is my next favorite. In that it, once again, I feel like those are the 2 movies that build the Harry Potter world.
Yeah.
Then after that, it's just kind of like more of the same, which is fine, great. We're just like there. But also, I think after that, they start getting older.
Yeah.
And they're still playing the luck game on how they're getting out of their problems.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
I think it's Order of the Phoenix is, I don't know, like the 5th or 6th one. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a scene in it where like Hermione's talking to the group because they have the like where the like Dumbledore's arm at Dumbledore, Gandalf's army, or Gandalf's army, and then Hermione's like talking about like, no, we should follow Harry because he beat the basilisk and he defeated Voldemort, on the back of the guy's head. And Harry's like, whoa, like, wait a second. Like, most of that was luck.
Yeah.
And I got help from people.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome. We are now going to turn the page on that. Of like, we are now adults.
Yeah.
And like, before when you're a kid, the fact that you don't walk off a cliff as a child is because you're getting help from your parents or whoever, and luck. There's a little bit of luck to like survival as well. And I'm like, great. Now you're adults. Now you take control over your destiny.
Right.
Then what happens is Voldemort pulls a Palpatine and kills himself by using power. Oops. Yeah, that like
unlimited power.
Where it's like, what? Like, if you're a really strong wizard, you would be able to tell that like this wand doesn't feel right in my hand.
Yeah.
Or if you're using the spells, you would be able to tell like there's like a reflect, happening here that's sort of like hurting me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can put this away and figure out how to use it later and just steal a wand from one of my people,
Yeah.
But for some reason, Voldemort can't tell that, like, oh, you didn't kill Harry.
Yeah.
You just kind of like, I don't really understand that part either. Like where Voldemort does the death spell on Harry in the Deathly Hallows. Harry dies, then Harry comes back to life because he felt like it. Like, did he use the resurrection stone on himself? Like I think, then he could choose to resurrect.
I think the resurrection stone made it possible for him to choose to come back, and he like stops off at that Matrix 3 subway and talks to homeless Dumbledore.
So drops change in Dumbledore's cup.
Yeah.
Dumbledore's playing the guitar with his like case open, and people are giving him money. So I don't know. I felt like, okay, let's do that. Now these characters they've realized like, hey, we're not going to keep getting away with being kids. Right. And getting lucky and getting help from the adults. Now we're the adults who have to take care of things.
Yeah.
And that never happened.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know why. I think it's none of the books, well, none of the movies, because I only read the first book like a long time ago, but none of the movies really ever have the characters themselves really solving their own problems for the most part. It's kind of the adults. It's the Phoenix coming in with the Gryffindor sword randomly that never gets set up.
Well, that was lucky.
Yeah, and even like there's a scene where they're in the forest and Hermione leads the new teacher who's the bad teacher, the new head of Gryffindor. She's that mean lady who keeps putting the like the rules up.
Who wears all the pink.
Yeah, she's the tax lady. So the tax lady comes, and they're in the forest where Hagrid's brother is there, who's a giant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what a perfect opportunity. They set this up. Hermione's going to go over to the bike handles and ring the bell.
Yeah.
Because before, he was ringing the bell and gave it to her. Like, hey, I like this thing. And I'm like, now you can ring the bell, be like, this is how we do it, we got to ring the bell here. And she's like, the lady can be like, okay, ringing the bell. And that'll summon the guy.
Right.
Because he'll hear the bell. And now he can come and help you out.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
No, instead, the centaurs came.
Yeah.
And rode off with the lady.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? You set it up.
Yeah.
You set it up to do this thing.
It's a Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
It's a Chekhov's gun, and they didn't use it.
Yes. And I was like, but every single thing in the movies is like that.
Yeah.
And I was okay with it for like the first couple movies. I was okay with it because I'm like, you're kids. This makes sense. Like, whatever. Like love is the reason why Professor with the Voldemort on the back of his head couldn't touch you.
Yeah.
Love is the reason why. Sure, whatever. It's a kid's book. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like for 10-year-olds, that's fine.
Yeah.
But as they're getting older, like high school age, I'm like, now you need to start. Now you've got high school readers reading this thing, and you need to start giving them some agency so high school people understand.
Yeah.
That you're in control of your life.
Yes.
And you're responsible for your actions. And when things go bad, as they always do in life,
right,
you have to take care of it. You're now you're turning into an adult now. You have to take care of it. You got to do your own homework. You know, you can't have people telling you to do your own homework. Like, you're responsible for your actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're responsible for how you deal with, you know, acts of God. You're responsible for that. Harry might not be, but you are. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I don't know. I think watching through the movies made me feel like I worry for the generation that grew up with this stuff, and they're watching it and thinking that like, oh, things just work out.
Yeah, like when they have to deal with their Voldemort, their own personal Voldemort, they're just sitting around waiting for Gandalf to save them.
Yes. Gandalf? His name's Dumbledore.
It's Dumbledore.
But
I
agree
with that.
You know, you can't solve every problem, but you can try.
Yeah.
And the trying is important, because sometimes the problems that you don't think you can solve, you actually can solve.
Yeah. It's why I like Spider-Man so much.
Yeah. I mean, like us, where we were like, how do you give agency to these characters that have never had agency? And then we actually kind of did it.
Yeah.
And tied it in a nice little bow, you know, that makes sense in universe.
Yeah.
And would also make sense how 4 kids who are like 17 or 18 could defeat one of the most powerful wizards ever, is by like using their unity.
Yeah.
And by finding a way of working together.
Yeah. With their powers combined.
Yes. We created Captain
Planet. Okay. So you mentioned to me off camera that there was another idea for, like, we need a movie. We need a movie that's...
Oh, yeah.
Like, we did the wingsuit movie, and we did curling.
Yes.
The sport curling. There's another one that you said that you had an idea for, that we need this movie.
Yeah.
What is that?
What did I say? I said they need a makeup artist movie.
You're right. Okay.
That's what I think. We haven't had the makeup artist movie. The movie that's like from the perspective of this person who's, you know, starts out like at a beauty pageant or something like that, like doing makeup and hair for somebody. And then they end up getting the big chance, you know, in Hollywood. And now they're doing it for some TV show like Star Trek.
Yeah, they're doing like effects makeup.
Yeah, and they're working with their team, and, you know, and they're kind of like competing with the other team.
Yeah.
You know, who's doing that. So it's, I kind of got the idea because in Battlefield Earth,
John
Travolta and Forrest Whitaker were getting this like crazy makeup, alien makeup done on them.
Right.
And like it took them like, you know, whatever, 6 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like the first day of doing it, and John Travolta just was like, "You guys, there's no way, like, we have to do this faster, right?" And they're like, "No, we'll do it faster. This is just like day one, you know."
Yeah. Yeah.
Then like John Travolta was noticing that like Forrest Whitaker kept leaving like hours before him.
Yeah.
He's like, "How are they doing that?" And they figured out some way of actually like maintaining the whole headset, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's like, do that. But I just felt like, like John Travolta's a big enough star where if he was like, switch my makeup crew with their makeup crew, you know, they would do that. So like those two teams are now like in competition with each other to be like you don't want to let your star down, you know. You want to be like doing the best job that you can. So like now let's make a movie with that kind of style in mind. Yeah,
that is interesting. It's like, now that I think about it, there are like movies about not like tailors, but like clothing designers.
Yeah.
And it is like, there isn't really one about like a makeup artist.
Yes.
But it could be really interesting, and it could even be. I mean, the visuals would be awesome in a movie like that because you could design some really cool looking stuff.
Yeah.
But it could be like actually very tense too. You know.
Yes.
It's like there's a lot of like we have to rush, and then there's also like a lot of like we have to take our time with this so we don't screw it up.
Yeah.
So that is interesting. There could be something there.
Yeah. What I mean, the first movie I think of like to model it after is The Cutting Edge.
The Cutting Edge
is to have that feel, you know, to it, because you could even have like if your main character is, you know, whoever, you could have like her on one side and him on the other side, or vice versa, you know.
Yeah.
Like whoever your main characters are, you could have a love interest on one team and a love interest on the other team.
Yeah.
You know, where they're competing against each other at first, and they're kind of like at each other's throats.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like they have a fight with each other, but then they make up.
Yeah. Yes.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. You know?
I agree though. Because that always adds just another element to it. When there's the star-crossed lovers. I mean, we still read Romeo and Juliet for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a great premise.
An extra layer of tension.
Yes.
That sort of gets built in. But yeah, it is kind of like, it is a tricky one because you want to have the makeup artist aspects of it be kind of at the forefront. Like, you know, like how, you know, race car, like drag racing is in the front of Fast and Furious. At least the first one.
Yeah.
You know, and then like,
first one.
Yeah, but then like there's also the love interest, and there's these conflict with like, can we trust this guy who ends up being an FBI agent?
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah, but it's all centered around cars.
Yeah, but that's like the main focus. So you kind of do that with this, where the makeup and that stuff is the main focus.
Yeah.
You know. But then like you know, what's the stuff?
the peripheral stuff.
Yes.
The peripheral, like... well, yeah, I mean, it's... You could kind of go in two different directions with it. You could have it be like The Cutting Edge, where it's like, it's just, this is their job. There's oh, man. I mean, it could be sort of like Battlefield Earth, where there's two teams that are just, like, competing against each other. Or it could be more rooted in, like an award show, where it's like, we're making this movie, but there's this other movie that's being made.
Yes.
And they're like, it's in space, you know, and they have some really good makeup, and we need to beat them. And so like the climax is the award show. Yeah. So it's whatever, the Oscars.
Yes.
It's like, and that's a huge deal.
Yeah, and you could have it where, I know this probably doesn't make any sense in reality, but you could have it where, because this is like a bigger whatever movie or show or whatever it might be, it's two different companies. Yeah. You know? So it's two different makeup artist companies that are working on the show, and only one of them is going to get the award. Yeah. And it's kind of like whoever's like that... do you know what I mean? So one company's basically gonna like...
Do you mean two companies working on the same movie and only one of them gets the award? I don't think that would work.
I don't know. But, there's got to be...
But if we approach it like Bottle Shock, where it's like, this is a movie, it's like, you know, a small-scale sci-fi movie, it's low budget. Yes. And they're competing against like a huge production company. Yes. Who has like all these resources, and it's like... It's, you know, like I'm the head of a team of like 5 people, you know, and like, this is what we're trying to make the best like makeup that we can for this sci-fi movie with a budget of like whatever, $200,000. Yeah. It's more money than I've ever seen, but that's low budget for a film. And then like they're competing against like Disney, you know, that has billions of dollars and like dozens of people on a single team of like makeup.
Yeah.
So like that would be kind of the way that I would approach it. It's like Bottle Shock, where it's like, here's the underdog.
Yeah.
Who like might win that award.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's not bad. You could still have...
What could I have? Tell me.
You could still have two separate companies.
Yeah.
That are working on different, like, smaller things that are in competition with each other, you know. But they're also in competition with the bigger guy too.
Yeah.
So then when one of them's like, oh my gosh, the other one is like comes in and backs them.
Yeah.
And then that's how they're like, oh, like we can.
They could be working on like a small, like maybe short films.
Yeah.
Or something to try and fund their little companies so that they can continue working on the feature.
Yeah.
So like they're competing against another small company on this like short film, which is like, we took the job because we need the money.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're going to run out of money before we finish this like feature length film. And so like there could still be that tension between two smaller companies, but it would be on like, you know, other jobs that they're having to take. And then that would give you an opportunity to like come up with more cool kind of makeup designs where it's like, this is just what they do. They come up with cool designs for sci-fi and horror.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, there's definitely something kind of interesting here, you know.
They're like, I'm going to sneak into the other office and then like paint me a disguise. And it's just like an alien and like walking through.
They end up doing like a Mission Impossible where they look exactly like the guy.
Yeah.
You ever see Yeah, there's that scene in The Saint with Val Kilmer where he's dressed just like the one guy, you know? And they're both standing there, and the guy's looking at him like, huh? And Val Kilmer's doing it right back to him because he's dressed just like huh? Because he knows the guy's going to do that. Great stuff. But,
Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I think there's a lot you can do with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's a decent amount of directions you can kind of take it in.
Yeah.
And then there's some fun stuff that can happen as well. And just, you know, in how they kind of like discover making up the designs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, like you could have that too, where it's like, how do we now take this, which is on paper, and put that on that guy's face? Yeah. You know, and it's like, you know, like, okay. And then you can like show them kind of like doing it, you know?
Yeah.
People be like, what if we use a polymer, you know, like you have that guy. It's just like hold on, you know.
He's the best in the business.
Yeah. He's a gunslinger. Just like spinning the like water bottle, you know, little spray bottles. And scissors and stuff like that. But they haven't made that movie. And I think it would be fun to make it, and it's also, you know, they've made a movie kind of about every other aspect of movie making.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, almost.
They have they should get their due.
They should get their due. The lighting guy movie is next.
I think. So get those barn doors closed on that for now. No, I think that would be fun. Maybe we should write it. I'm actually getting a bunch of ideas now of directions we could take it in, and just cool little things that we could have in it. I think that would be really fun. It'd be a really fun movie to work on too. Yeah, you know,
it'd be great because you'd get to talk to like actual makeup artists to do research, and they would have awesome stories.
They'd have awesome stories. They'd have awesome ideas. If you're just like, you know, like just go ham, just go wild.
Yeah,
you know, like the movies in this movie are not real, so whatever design you think is cool, like let's come up with it.
Yeah, what's the thing you've always wanted to do? As an artist that you've, you know, and now's your chance to kind of do it, to create your own thing. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
So we have some time here. I do have a game if you wanted to play.
Yes.
It's called Plot Twist. We've played it before.
Yeah.
I give you a brief synopsis, a kind of a log line, and it actually applies to two different movies.
Yes.
And there's an obvious one and there's a less obvious one, and we've been playing it where you have to kind of guess both movies.
Yeah. I think it's fun trying to guess both movies.
Yeah. So we could start if you want to. I think this one's gonna be fun, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But are you ready?
I think if I start taking too long, just give me a hint or something.
Smack.
Slap. You're taking too long.
Smack you.
My brain. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's just jump into it. Here's number one. In this film, Nicolas Cage is a superhero that catches fire.
Ghost Rider.
Yes.
Which one?
That's the obvious one.
That's the obvious one. Okay. Ghost Rider is the obvious one.
Yes.
Cage is a superhero that catches fire. Oh, Kick-Ass.
That's right.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, dude.
Well done.
Wow. Yeah, there's a scene in that movie where the guy lights him on fire.
He's a superhero and he catches fire.
Wow. Good one.
Okay, next one, number two.
Yes.
In this comedy, a young man learns about personal responsibility on the golf course.
Caddyshack?
That is the less obvious one.
Really? That's the less obvious one.
Yes.
Learns about personal responsibility on the golf course. Are you thinking of Happy Gilmore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that would be the more obvious one because it's a comedy on a golf course.
I thought of them both, but then for some reason, I couldn't get Billy Madison out of my head. Do you know what I mean? Like that popped in my head. I was like,
Madison?
Oh wait, I couldn't took me a while to get the name right. Okay.
All right, that was good. All right. This one might be a little more difficult. Number three. This 80s film is actually a story in a book as seen through the eyes of a child.
The Princess Bride.
Yeah, that's the less obvious one.
The Never-Ending Story.
Yes.
Yes!
You're doing really good.
Yeah.
All right. This one I think is really easy. Number four. A destructive clown creates chaos.
It?
Yeah. That's the more obvious one.
Okay. A destructive clown creates chaos. Oh, Batman.
Yeah, well.
Which one? Tim Burton? Or are you thinking of The Dark Knight?
I was thinking The Dark Knight. I used the word chaos on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Chaos.
Yeah. I should, Well done.
All right. Number five. A frozen man from the past is thawed out in the future and fights an enemy from his time.
Oh. Demolition Man.
That's the less obvious answer.
The less obvious one.
Yes.
Encino Man?
No, he doesn't really fight an enemy.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, that was a frozen man. Oh my gosh. Say it
Frozen
again.
man from the past is thawed out in the future and fights an enemy from his time.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
So Demolition Man is an action movie.
Yes.
This other one is a comedy.
This other one is a comedy, and it's not Encino Man. It's a movie where somebody is frozen and thaws out. Austin Powers.
That's right.
I can't believe that took me so long to figure out.
All right. So
that's a good one.
This next one, I have to say spoiler alert.
Okay.
That's the best I can do. Sorry if you haven't seen these movies yet. So in this film, It turns out that Kevin Spacey was the bad guy the whole time.
The Usual Suspects?
That's the obvious one.
That's the obvious one? 7?
Yes! Surprise!
Yeah. Real life? Real life? Yeah. Jeez Louise.
Okay. Moving right along here. Number 7.
Yes.
A father and his family come across Bigfoot in this movie.
Oh, Harry and the Hendersons.
That's the obvious one.
That's the obvious one, okay. So then the plot twist is that it's not that, it's... Father and his family come across Bigfoot.
Right. Keeping in mind, I have to word things a certain way so that it fits for both movies.
Yeah, a father and his family come across Bigfoot.
In this movie, yes. So this other one...
Honey, I blew up the baby? No.
No.
Honey, I blew up the kids? Yeah.
So Harry and the Hendersons is about Bigfoot.
Yes.
This other one, it's not about Bigfoot. It's just something that happens like halfway through the movie.
Big Fish.
No. Oh, that's not not a bad one. It's also an animated film.
Oh, it's also an animated film. Is it Disney?
It is Disney.
For some reason,
it's
I never
not
guessed
one of their
the
more.
stuff.
It's not one of their more well-known ones, but we used to watch it.
Oh, you're talking about a Goofy movie.
I am.
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, there's a whole scene in there where like he turns into Goofy, the kid, Goofy's son.
Yeah, but they come across Bigfoot, and then Bigfoot gets the headphones and he's listening to like he's listening to Staying Alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole Bigfoot scene. Okay.
Yes.
Number 8. In this film, Tom Cruise is able to stop bad things from happening before they happen.
Minority Report.
That's the obvious one.
Before they happen. Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes.
Well done. You're doing really well.
Thank you.
Number 9. Mm-hmm. A man realizes that his entire life and everything that he sees is simulated by outside forces.
The Matrix.
That's the obvious one.
That's the obvious one. Dark City.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one, right? Everything he see, is outside forces. You're not talking about Spider-Man No Way Home.
No.
Or one of the Spider-Man movies with Mysterio.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Give me a clue, I think.
All right. I guess you could call this a comedy. It's definitely got a comedic actor at the helm.
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show.
Oh, wow. Good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know if I would have thought of that one. Yeah.
So there's one more.
Okay.
Number 10. In this romance, the lead actress falls in love with her love interest's brother.
While You Were Sleeping.
That's the less obvious one.
That's the less obvious one.
Yes.
So in this romance, the woman falls in love with her love interest's brother.
Yeah.
And While You Were Sleeping is the less obvious one.
Yeah.
It's not Arrested Development, right?
It's not. It's Michael.
Michael. That's your brother. I'm in love with your brother-in-law. Michael. That's your Yeah. It's me. I'm my brother's brother. You're in love with me.
Yeah. This other one, the more obvious one, is definitely the more famous movie.
Really? It's a more famous movie?
And I definitely thought you were going to say it before While You Were Sleeping.
It's more famous than While You Were Sleeping. She falls in love with her, the guy's brother. I don't know. Give me a hint.
So, in While You Were Sleeping, the love interest has the medical problem.
Yes.
And then she falls in love with the brother. In this one, she has somebody, and then the brother maybe has a medical problem. What you might consider a medical problem. You know.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I just can't think of what the movie is. Brothers?
No. Well, we watched this movie a lot growing up. It's a very Italian film.
Moonstruck.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not get what you were saying.
Yeah, he's
when you
missing
did
a
that,
hand.
I was
missing a hand.
I was thinking something else wasn't rising. I was like, what movie is that? I don't remember. We watched that movie as a kid? As a kid we did? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know. The guy had a,
Yeah, that famous ED film.
Gosh, I can't believe I didn't think of that one.
Yeah, I thought for sure you'd say that before While You Were Sleeping.
Anyway,
that was the last one. So I think that those were some good pages.
Yeah.
So until next time, I'll see you later, brother.
Later, brother.